Rookie mistake. Can't believe I had my lav mic underneath my jacket. Audio's just unusable, can't use it. So instead, we're in here again in my beautiful office doing another video for you. Hey. Alright YouTube, how is it going? I hope you're all good. Now, what I was going to talk about in the woods, and it didn't quite go to plan, was the Sony 20mm f1.8 G-series lens and 5 reasons why I chose this lens over the competition. Right, so before we start, this isn't going to be a detailed review. I'm not going to be talking about chromatic aberration or how sharp the corners are. If you want something like that, go check out someone like Gerald Undone, who's much more qualified than I am to be talking about those sort of specs. But no, this is going to be 5 reasons. What was that? 5 reasons why I decided that this lens was the best ultra-wide angle lens for me. Might not be the case for you. So before we begin, let's run through a few of the specs. So it's a 20mm focal length, f1.8 aperture at its widest. It has a popular 67mm filter thread. It's weather sealed, dust and moisture resistant. It has Sony's latest technology in autofocus system, the dual XD linear motors. Absolutely phenomenal autofocus, like top of the line. It has a minimum focusing distance of 19 centimeters, so you can get some really cool macro shots if you wanted. It has 9 rounded aperture blades for some really nice smooth looking bokeh. Consists of 14 elements and 12 groups, 2 of which are advanced aspherical elements, 3 are extra low dispersion elements for some outstanding corner to corner sharpness. There's a really smooth manual focusing ring. It has a customizable button. And one of the really cool bonus features that you've got here is a aperture ring, which if you can hear, you can either click it or here there's a declickable switch. So now you can change the aperture really smoothly. It's packed into this beautifully designed G-Master quality package, very similar to the 24 f1.4. Many YouTubers can't even distinguish the difference between the 24 and the 20mm. It's really well built. So with the specs out of the way, I'm going to switch over to the lens. Now this may look a little bit more familiar. The 20mm focal length, as you can see, much wider. Get more of the light in the corner, get a bit more of the screen. Right, let's crack on. So why did I choose this lens over some of the more popular alternatives out there, like the G-Master 16-35 f2.8 or even the Sigma 20mm f1.4? So reason number 1, size and weight. This lens is absolutely tiny. At 373 grams, I think it is. It seems that finally the mirrorless system is beginning to deliver what it promised from the beginning, which is a nice, compact, lightweight alternative to the DSLR system. Up until now, I've barely even noticed the difference. I used to have a Canon 7D with a 24-105 lens. That's quite a heavy setup, quite big. So then I moved over to this compact mirrorless system. What's compact about this? This is the Sigma 24-70 f2.8. It's probably heavier. In fact, I think it is heavier and bigger than the Canon 24-70 2.8 for the DSLR EF mount. Where's the benefit? We all go mirrorless to go lighter, don't we? Anyway, so having an ultra-wide angle lens of this caliber is just awesome. I don't know about you, but for me, if the camera feels good, I'm gonna want to use it more. I don't know why. That probably sounds stupid, but I don't know, if something feels good, feels nice in hands and isn't a restriction, then it makes me want to use it more. Having the little compact 20mm lens makes me want to put it on this camera a lot more. If I'm dragging around a big old heavy lens, I don't want to get it out half the time. I may as well just keep it at home. What's the point in carrying that around all the time? So yeah, reason number 1, size and weight. Reason number 2, the f1.8 aperture. Now, to be honest, this wasn't a feature that I was looking for. It's actually a bit of a bonus for me, but it's worked out to be a valid reason all the same. I'll explain why. Now, typically when you're looking for an ultra-wide angle lens, the 16-35 pops into your head straight away, but they're usually only f4 or f2.8 at best. Now, yes, they do offer a bit more versatility in terms of focal length, but I'll talk about that in a bit. But having an f1.8 in an ultra-wide angle lens it's just top notch, it's sweet. So it makes it ideal for things like astro, if you do any kind of nighttime photography, videography, if you do weddings, if you work in bars, clubs, whatever you're into. It just opens up so many doors, it doesn't give you as many restrictions. Now living in the UK, we get quite drastic shifts in daylight patterns throughout the year. So in the height of winter, at 3:30, the sun's gone down. An f1.8, you're gonna be able to keep that ISO low, aren't you? It's just a nice little bonus. You pair this lens with the Sony a7S III and you've got yourself a low light beast. But then also having an f1.8 makes it a pretty cool portrait lens. You wouldn't think that a 20mm lens would be used for portraiture, but have a look at some of these images. Having such a wide focal length and being able to blur out the background and separate your subject, it's not something you come across every day. Having such a small form factor and such a wide aperture really scored highly with me. Compare it to the 16-35 f2.8 G Master. That thing's massive and expensive. Which brings me nicely onto reason number 3, price. I mean, this lens is actually a bit of a bargain. When you compare it to the other lenses out there, compare it to the 16-35 G Master. I'll put the price up here. I can't think of what it is, but I'm pretty sure it's in the range of £2,000 plus. Like I said before, you're basically getting a G Master lens at a fraction of the cost. If we compare it to its bigger brother, the 24mm f1.4 G Master, these lenses are almost identical. Like, they're built the same, they offer the same features, got the same focusing motors, like the focus switch, the aperture ring, the declickable button. Other than being 2/3 of a stop brighter, what difference is there between the 24 and the 20mm? I mean, the 20mm is a little bit smaller, it's a little bit lighter. The only other comparable difference is one has a silver G badge, the other one has an orange G badge. So if you're into bragging rights, then yeah, get yourself a G Master. But if you're not concerned about that and you're really after a decent quality bargain, get the 20mm. With this in mind, the GM24 will set you back $13.49 here in the UK. The 20mm f1.8 G is $949. That's £400 difference. It's staggering, and they're essentially the same lens. It's just whether or not you prefer 20mm or 24mm. And obviously the 1.4, but 1.8 is more than enough. Now, with that being said, even if the 24 G Master was the same price as the 20mm G, I would still choose the 20mm, which coincidentally brings me on to reason number 4. The 20mm focal length. Now obviously you're going to say to yourself, well, you just bought yourself a 20mm lens, so obviously you're going to want 20mm focal length. But let's rewind a bit. So I've had the 16-35 f4 in the past and I absolutely loved it. However, I've never had the f2.8 version, mainly due to its added size and weight. They're usually a lot bigger than the f4 version, and they're just ridiculously expensive. I mean, I just can't justify the cost of the f2.8. I'd rather just stick with the f4 and have a bit more of a limitation when it comes to low light and bokeh. But it gets a bit boring, and I've always wanted that wider aperture. I just don't want to pay for it. But I chose the f4 because I felt like it had a bit of a compromise. It was still quite compact, quite small, quite lightweight, and it was constant throughout, so not too bad. But it got a bit boring. So as a result, I pretty much never used that lens anymore and stuck with my workhorse, which is the 24-70 f2.8, which I feel is also quite big and heavy. But for what it gives you, it's just worth it. It's worth it. And there are no alternatives out there at the moment that I know of, other than the Tamron, which, don't get me started, I'm not interested. I've had it, I didn't like it, it's a bit cheap. I just wasn't interested, and I really wanted that 24mm wide end. So the 24 f1.4 G Master, it just wasn't an option because I could see it just collecting dust on my shelf because I've already got the 24mm covered with the Sigma lens. So the 20mm sits nicely outside of that range, and it is significantly wider than 24mm. You'd be surprised actually how much wider a 20mm is compared to a 24. I mean, actually, you just saw it earlier on in the video. I was actually filming 24mm at the start of this video, and then when I switched over 20mm, and as you can see, it was significantly wider. So yeah, 20mm is a very decent ultra wide angle focal length for my needs anyway, and I don't already have it covered elsewhere. So again, reason number 4. Finally, reason number 5 is video. I primarily wanted a lens of this focal length for video. And the 20mm f1.8 offers so much flexibility compared to the alternatives out there. I mean, we talked about the G Master, 16-35 f2.8, massive, expensive, just not an option for me. But we haven't talked much about the Sigma 20mm f1.4. Now it's at a 1.4, it's about around the same price, maybe cheaper, but it's also bloody massive. Like, you could build a house with that lens. It's huge. Like, why does Sigma need to make such big, heavy, cumbersome lenses? We want tiny little compact lenses, Sigma. Come on, listen to us. We don't want those big, heavy bricks. So this 20mm f1.8 is tiny, perfect for run and gun, perfect for vlogging. Yeah, 16mm is a bit wider, but sometimes it offers a bit too much distortion. I find that 20mm is the sweet spot, and I can be out and about filming, taking pictures, and then I can turn around and vlog very nicely. So it's become a bit of a dual purpose lens, and it's so much fun to use. Just makes me want to go out and shoot. It's a great little lens, and I'd highly recommend it. And those have been the 5 reasons why I decided to choose this lens. Now, I'm not saying these are going to be your reasons, these are just mine. Hopefully it'll help you decide whether or not it's something for you. So with that being said, are there any downsides to this lens? Well, there are a couple, but the first being that it doesn't have IBIS in the lens, which may be a bit of a deal breaker for any videographers, but if you're using one of these newer Sony cameras like the a7S III or the a7C and they have that active stabilization, you're not going to miss it at all. In fact, the active stabilization is phenomenal. It's better than having IBIS in the lens, in my opinion. Another potential downside is it's only 20mm, which may be restricting for some of you, but for me, I don't need to go down to 16mm, and like I said before, I've already got 24-70 covered. But you pair that with the a7 III and you use the APS-C mode, crops in 1.5 times, you've got 35mm there and then. And that's it really. To me, it's a no-brainer. But either way, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, I would really appreciate if you give it a bit of a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos like this, consider subscribing. And thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.